but they've learned that some.
AM, its staff, management, or parent company, iHeartMedia Incorporated.
Welcome to the Bartow Ford Real Animals Radio Show, your weekly voyage into Florida fishing. Presented by Hubbard's Marina, hosted by Captain Mike Anderson and Captain Dylan Hubbard.
Good morning, Tampa Bay. Captain Dylan Hubbard here for the Bartow Ford Real Animals Radio Show on this beautiful Saturday morning. A little less humid, a little more excited for the day, and a beautiful weekend ahead. So we're looking forward to some good opportunities through this weekend for some good fishing. We're going to talk a little bit about the weather. We're going to talk a little bit about Tampa Bay fishing reports and a little bit more about everything inshore, near shore, and offshore during our radio show on this beautiful Saturday morning, March 11th. And I've got some great guests in studio this morning. Excited to have Captain Neill Holland from OceanAid 360 and GoFishTampaBay.com, and also Captain Travis Thompson, our good buddy from All Florida and PT Outfitters and Cast and Blast FL as well. So some powerhouse guests in studio this morning. No Captain Mike, unfortunately, but we're excited for a great show. We got a lot to talk about this morning, and hopefully we'll hear from you guys as well. Remember, if you have a fishing question, if you have a fishing report, if you want to just talk fishing or say hello, give us a call, 1-800-969-9352 is that call-in line. And hopefully we'll hear from you this morning as well. First things first, weather-wise, I'm excited this weekend. We have some good opportunities on the backside of this little cold front. For those of you unaware, we did have a cold front last night. It was easily missed. If you weren't paying attention, if you weren't looking for it, you would have missed it. It definitely was short-lived and a very thin band of showers and didn't really have a dramatic effect. I was kind of disappointed this morning when I walked out of the house and was expecting a little cooler temperatures, but it was less humid this morning, I would say. Was it cold for you in Central Florida, Travis?
No, it was not cold, but did it pour? I mean, when you say some bands, like I'm in Polk County, like it rained hard.
Oh, really?
I mean, hard.
In our area, it was not really crazy. It rained, but it wasn't like a downpour, and it was very short-lived.
It was short-lived. I would say within an hour.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it was
Big
a deluge. Yeah, I would say I didn't look at the rain gauge this morning because it was dark when you make me come over here. But I'd say we got an inch and a half of rain. I mean, it was a good rain.
You got the brunt of it. For
yeah,
sure.
it was.
You got
it was
15 minutes of solid rain, and that was it.
Yeah, it was serious.
Wow. All right, so you have a rain gauge at your house? That was the most interesting part of what you were saying.
Dude, what kind of outdoorsman are you? You don't have a rain gauge at your house.
I apparently am not a good one. I need to step.
I know how to get.
Where do I get a rain?
I know what I'm getting Dylan for Christmas now.
I know what I'm getting myself. That's interesting. A rain gauge. I love it.
Let me be honest. It's like $3.
Okay.
Like you can swing a rain gauge.
No, I've always wanted like a weather station. Like we've been wanting one at the Marina. We have that live webcam on the 6th floor of the parking garage. And when they installed it, I was like, dude, put a weather station up there. But something about another Ethernet cable and connectivity, they were like, oh, that's not smart. Plus, everybody kept telling me, you're gonna pay money to put that webcam on the 6th floor of the parking garage, and it's gonna get struck by lightning.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
I
knock
can see
on
that.
wood, we're running like a year now without getting hit by lightning.
I can see that.
I was envisioning a Chinese weather balloon over John's Pass or something like that. You know?
Hey, if we could strap a webcam to it, I'm about it.
Yeah, man. No kidding.
Yeah, we have, besides this little weak cold front that we were talking about now, we also have Monday into Tuesday, a strong cold front on schedule. Fake spring is over, folks. Fake spring is over. We're back into a little bit more of a wintertime pattern this week. Pretty strong cold front there Monday into Tuesday. Really going to pick up weather-wise. Some prefrontal activity Monday, strong winds Tuesday. And it's going to be chilly Tuesday into Wednesday, Thursday even. Going to start warming up by the weekend, just in time for round 2. Another strong cold front there, potentially Saturday. So we went from sunny and high 80s in some areas.
Pre-summer, as we like to call it.
Pre-summer, fake spring, whatever you want to call it.
The pollening, I think, is what one of the memes calls it, is the pollening.
The pollening. Yeah, we are definitely inundated at my house with pollen. But now we're back to 3 cold fronts in a 7-day period. So it's typical Florida.
Yeah.
If you don't like the weather, wait 10 minutes, and it's definitely proven true.
I'm not a big offshore guy. What does that do offshore fishing? Does it have big effects, or is it mostly water temperature connected? Like if you get cold fronts and it keeps it down, maybe it just holds that water temperature
Slow
off.
the kingfish down.
Yeah, honestly, it's one of those weird things. I think it's like inshore fishing, right? Is these fish get into these patterns, and if you ask 10 people, they'll have 10 different answers on, is it weather driven or is it length of day? One thing that I got into with Ben and Big Ben and Mike Mahoney on the Sunday morning show is they were pretty dead set that it's more of a length of day than a weather thing. And I've always thought it was a weather thing that drove these patterns. Like if you're talking inshore fishing, we're talking about snook moving into the back bays and the creeks. We're talking offshore fishing, we're talking about the mackerel and kingfish showing up, or the hogfish spreading out once it warms up. And I thought it was always weather driven, but they were saying it's more length of day. And I think I could see the connection. And I think in Florida, it almost would have to be more length of day, or these fish would get confused,
right?
Like we are now, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So
to answer your question, I don't know if it's length of day, is it weather, is it a mix of the two? What's weighted more?
It's funny because on the duck side, we talk about photo period a lot because that's what triggers migrations.
Photo period.
Photo period.
Length
daily,
of day is the redneck way to say it.
Yeah, no, at Polk County. I'm from Polk County. We call it length of day. But you know that's going to control.
Period.
You know that's going to drive their movement. So like you mentioned snook. Like you know a snook at some point on a moon are going to move from the back bays into the mid bays, then into the passes over a 3-4 month period. But there's also snook that won't move there till July or whatever. Like they.
And you just hit the second point or the third point: length of day. Or weather, or like the temperature, but then moon phase.
And then tide on top of that.
Yeah, a lot of people say it's on the second moon of the year or third moon of the year that these fish come in. So that's interesting. And then tide on top of that, you're saying? Just like wintertime tides, springtime tides.
Well, moon inshore. I'm an inshore guy. Like inshore is going to drive when that bite is. I mean, you can catch fish all day long sometimes, but like you said, you had a charter yesterday, and you knew. Yeah. That last 30 minutes of that, when the tide flipped, it was going to be game on. Like
I had a trip that I couldn't plan the hours for, right? And I told the people when they got on the boat, I said, look, the tail end of this trip, they're going to eat the floor out of the boat, but we're going to struggle early, you know?
Yeah.
And the way that I always explain fishing, inshore fishing to my clients is to say it's like a Rubik's Cube with a constantly shifting set of variables. I said that's what keeps us coming back.
Yeah.
Is that it's different every single day when you approach it.
Bunch of levers you have to flip in the right order, and if you flip them in the right order, it works. But I just think there's something to the idea of like, yeah, the fish are going to feed better. Like for snook example, they're going to feed better on the spawn when they're on the spawn. But also there's times on the spawn when it's like you can't buy a bite for an hour or two, and then suddenly that switch flips. So it's not just all one thing, like
I
you
think
said.
certain species are even more tied to the tide. Like I'll never forget growing up. I've told this story in the past on the show, but Lauren Perucci, they called him Mr. Snook. He would fish John's Pass all the time. He was like 94 years old when he passed away, and he was still doing 39-hour trips. It was impressive. But he would sit there on this bench in front of the Marina office, and he'd be reading a newspaper, and every now and again he'd glance down at his watch. And as a kid, I would be messing with the shrimp tank, sorting shrimp or fixing reels or sweeping the parking lot or whatever I could do for a $1 back then, saving up for a boat. But I would watch, and he'd check his watch every now and again. And every now and again, he'd fold up his newspaper calmly, grab his little 4/0 conventional on his ugly stick, and saunter down to the dock and stroke 15 snook in 30 minutes. It was crazy, just insta bite.
Yeah.
And he only fished for like an hour a day, but he caught more snook than anybody combined.
He had efficiency figured out.
Oh, extremely efficient.
If you checked under, you probably had a set of gills.
Yeah. It was amazing, his efficiency and the way he knew when they were going to bite. And that was all tied. He eventually told me his secret was the major and minor salooners. And that's what he was doing. He was reading the newspaper, looking at what time the salooners were, and then doing the math based on that for John's Pass, and knew down to essentially the minute when the fish were going to start really feeding well. And he didn't fish unless it was time to fish.
Do you do majors, minors?
Yeah, a little bit, especially if I'm in a grouper snapper.
Yeah, I mean, we try to offshore. It's tough when you're offshore, though, because of the fact that it's different offshore than it is for John's Pass. Like if you're inshore fishing, you can look it up to the exact area where you're fishing. Whereas if you're offshore fishing, you have to kind of do the math, and it's a little bit more tricky. So we've used it a little bit, and it definitely works offshore. But inshore, oh my goodness, I think it's a night and day difference. Me personally, like in the summertime when the snook are stacked in the pass, I look and see what the major and minor is doing, because I don't want to go out there in front of our 6 captains and crew and soak a bait and not catch a fish, right? I want to walk out there and be like, watch this.
Yeah.
And catch a snook.
Yeah, let the master come in. See?
And that's my secret. I make sure that, all right, today I look at the Salt Strong app, and they have it down to, they give you a 1 out of 10 rating down to the hour based on the location you're fishing. It's amazing through their app. It's called Smart Fishing Tides, is the Salt Strong product that I use, and it is amazing. So I make sure it's a 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10, and you drop a bait and it's on and popping.
I actually use it even for hunting side. Like I really believe you'll see game move better. Doesn't matter what it is, squirrels, ducks, turkeys. Obviously, you want to be out there hunting at daylight. Yeah. But if you can find that major or minor, like the moonrise moonset that coincides with like that period around low light, I think you get a lot more efficiency. Now, hunting season is limited, so you got to go when you can go, right?
Yeah.
You can't wait. But I think there's a lot to that. Maybe it's witchcraft, but I'm into it.
I forget who told me that. It was either Mike Anderson or Mike Mahoney, but they talked about the same thing when we were talking about salooners and moon phases. That has a lot to do with deer hunting or
huge thing with deer movement and ruts and everything else.
And speaking of hunting, something happened to me this past week that we're going to have to talk about, because it made me doubt a lot of things you told me. Yeah, so we're coming up on that. But as this weather report was brought to you by our friends over there at Reese Windows and Doors. They're celebrating 51 years as the fastest and most trusted impact window and door company. Remember, you can text the word HAPPY to 20129 for a chance to win $15,000 in brand new impact windows from Reese. Remember, text the word HAPPY, HAPPY, to 20129 for a chance to win. We'll be right back. Real Animals after this.
took a friend of mine who used to work for NOAA as a biologist.
Yeah.
Quite a while ago, and he taught me the term for that low light period that I was unfamiliar with. He said it's called the crepuscular period.
Crepuscular.
You ever heard that?
I like that.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
it basically describes the phenomenon of animals that become more active at low light periods, like dawn and dusk.
I like it.
I love talking to
using
those
that.
NOAA folks and those scientists.
Yeah,
Always
So smart.
Yeah.
Photo period. That was a good one.
yeah, that's good. Yeah, I haven't heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was about turkey hunting because you said how skittish turkeys were, and I ran across turkey this week
Oh, no.
in Orlando, and I was like, Travis is full of shit.
Yeah, well, they're not skittish right now because nobody's shooting at them yet. I got
I
videos
walked
of
up
turkeys
to
on the
this
side of the
turkey.
road at the hunting places yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but today's the youth hunt in the North Zone, so they're not going to be on the side of the roads tomorrow.
Oh, wow. So they're like snook. They know when season opens.
They know. They know. I mean, there's a few of them they have to pay a price.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, the slow guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything seems to be working nice. The only thing I was going to mention to you is when we're live, try to talk close to the mic.
Okay,
You got to be like absurdly close to the mic.
No
That's
problem.
the only weird thing.
Okay, you got it.
This is good. Nice. And our stream is good. Rocking and rolling. Bobby can't find the stream. Bobby Woodard texted me. He's like, no stream this morning?
That's the Bobby Woodard not being able to find something on the internet is the least shocking thing I've ever heard.
Oh my gosh.
I know he's listening to this, which is a
Well, if
miracle
he was
in and of itself.
If he was able to find
Yeah,
it.
dude's a heck of an angler.
He can
Fantastic
find the
guy.
fish, but don't
Not
let
much
him try to
variety.
find the stream.
If you're dependent on him for anything to do with technology, like,
You're in trouble.
we were talking about that hunt to fish deal this week, and I was like, Bobby, maybe you just get a pen and paper, like write a letter to your congressman, and it gets there like sometime in the next week or two.
Yeah, right? It'll get there eventually, Bobby.
Gosh.
That's hilarious. Man, these volume buttons, it's either on or off. You can't like turn
There's
it
like
down.
no low.
Yeah. He is listening. He found it.
Nice.
Good
Thanks,
job,
Bobby. I'm glad you found it.
Good job, bud.
Whatever.
What's your red tide situation been up there, Dylan?
We've been pretty blessed. The red tide situation in Johns Pass has not been bad. It was, so we had that spill in Johns Pass. I don't know if you heard about that, but immediately following that spill, the next day, red tide showed up in Pinellas County.
Oh, gotcha.
Like it was very clear.
Was that the sewage?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Saw that.
once that spill happened, red tide happened in Johns Pass, and then it was bad for a week and a half, 2 weeks in Pinellas County, and then the last week, starting this past Monday through yesterday, it was beautiful.
Oh, nice.
Clear water, like really clear water.
Yep.
Tons of white bait, plenty of fish.
Yep.
We're catching pinfish and keeping them alive at the dock.
That's good.
So we've been blessed.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping it continues. I don't know.
Same. Yeah. I've been fishing up the
But
bay mostly, so I haven't seen it.
But it's bad in Clearwater Honeymoon, north of us.
Yeah.
So, and I would say not even bad. Like it's still red tide and it's crappy, but like the 2018 red tide, that was just total devastation of the whole food web.
Yep.
This is just like bottom level of the food web, some dead bait, right?
Sure. Yep.
I think Tampa Bay has it worse. Like those manatees dying and all that stuff. I think that's worse than we have it in Pinellas County.
Yep. That Maximo area.
What's your
what's
your Instagram?
I think it's Go Fish Tampa Bay.
We're back, boys.
Okay.
No Capt Mike this morning. He is busy with a charitable event going on today at Tampa Bay Sporting Clays. Really good event out there for the Children's Home, benefiting the Children's Home. So he is on his way to shoot some shotguns with his beautiful better half and have a great time raising money for the Children's Foundation. So super, super happy we could fill in for him and got our friends in studio this morning, Captain Neill Holland from OceanAid 360. And we've got Captain Travis Thompson from PT Outfitters and All Fish Florida and Cast and Blast Florida and lots of other stuff as well. So
takes two of us to replace Mike, I guess.
I guess so. He is a very large man.
Yeah, no,
it's very, very large. So
Yeah.
I think two of you put together, we're almost there. And we got a lot to talk about this morning. We talked a lot about the weather in the first half or the first segment of the show, and talked a little bit about what's going on weather-wise and what we're looking forward to. Best weather. I didn't get to mention best weather this next 7 days, in my opinion. My guesstimate would be end of the weekend and end of the work week. So like Saturday afternoon, Sunday, and then like Thursday afternoon, Friday seems to be best. We are on that last quarter moon heading to the new moon right now as well. So with that, let's go ahead and take our first caller of the morning. We got Captain Mike from Big Pine Key on the line this morning. How are you, Captain Mike?
Morning, fellas. How's everybody doing this morning?
Doing good. Doing good,
Real
man.
well.
Another day in paradise, my man. How are you down there in the beautiful
First
Keys?
of all, I want to start this off by saying how disappointed I am that you don't have a rain gauge.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that.
Do you have a rain gauge in the
As
Keys?
big of a weather. Oh, I have rain. I have the wireless weather stations on both the homes, Tampa
Nice.
and the Keys. Plus, I have the best package of Sirius XM weather for the boat you can have. So
Oh, yeah.
radar, the works. So I'm a little spoiled when it comes to looking at the weather. But
See, I don't
we got to remedy that situation.
I don't need a weather gauge because I'm looking at the models so much and I'm so connected. I can just feel what's happening with the weather.
You are.
And I have a
You
feeling
are-
you're
you
going to
are
have
the
15
connected-
rain
you are the
gauges in the
connected
mail
guy.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
No. So anyway, we actually had a busy week. Last weekend I was up in the Tampa area and fished that Warrior Shootout, and that was a great time. All the benefits going to Reeling Freedom and everything they do. We had a great time. We got our slam. We actually finished in third place. We had a great time, and it was a real fun time. And then I went straight from there to probably the biggest saltwater tournament on the east coast of the U.S. I went down and we fished the Jimmy Johnson.
Wow.
And my boat finished in the top 10 in all categories. We took home checks, and we actually finished second in 2 Calcuttas. So
Nice.
we did
Congratulations.
really, really well.
That's awesome,
Very
man.
proud, very, very proud. And so the fishing down here in the Keys, I just got home actually yesterday, and fishing's been fantastic from what I understand. I haven't been out on the water. I'm taking a day off to decompress. But if the fishing is anything like it was off the coast of Miami, it was on fire. We got wahoo, mahi, blackfin tuna over the 2.5 days. We boated and released 35 sailfish,
Wow.
and we had 3 milling on. So it was quite the tournament, and quite
Nice.
a great fishing down here.
Tampa Bay has been popping off with pelagics offshore, and I thought about you this past week and looking forward to our conversation. We've caught multiple wahoo. We had a wahoo as shallow as 80 foot of water this past week. There was 2 sailfish caught. Yeah. And then 2 sailfish caught, cobia, blackfin tuna, big kingfish. The pelagic bite is popping off near shore, deep near shore, and really mainly offshore as well. So we're excited.
Yeah, the fishing is just jumping off, and I find it kind of funny. You have probably the number one guy who does all kinds of stuff for our waters, not only in the Tampa Bay area, but all over Florida there, Neill Holland, sitting with you, and you haven't discussed the R word yet, and I'm sure you're trying to stay away from it. But
No,
for those
we're
of
getting
you
there.
in the Tampa Bay area,
Mm-hmm.
all right, for those of you in the Tampa Bay area who want to get away from the R word, we don't allow it in Monroe County. We just don't allow it. So y'all come down. Y'all come down and take a vacation.
All right. We're real close on time. How would someone get a hold of you?
813-434-8086, CaptainMichael47gmail.com, or simply call 1-866-GAMEFISH and have Big Mike Anderson shoot you our way.
All right,
Come on
brother.
down to the Florida Keys.
Thank you, buddy.
We appreciate you, Captain Mike, as always. Real Animals Radio will be right back after these messages. All right. Trying to dial in the volume. I know that wasn't a good transition, guys, but Mike's not here this morning.
How is it on our side? What are they saying? Can they hear us or they can hear you?
Yeah, they can hear us. It's just on break. We're a little softer than the radio show is.
Gotcha.
And the problem is the transition music is just really loud. It kind of blows it out. So last week I was trying to manually slide this, but it's impossible to do both.
Yeah. That's the nicest compliment anybody ever gave me.
Oh.
I thought for sure when he said that, I was like, gonna be you. I was like, not gonna be me.
I was like, all right, I got questions now.
Well, no, I mean, your whole trash rodeo thing is pretty cool, man.
Yeah, that's like our main thing. We go out for derelict traps and gear.
Ghost Trap Rodeo. Yeah, that's what it's called.
Right. Yeah. We started maybe I'll have a chance to explain it, but started in mid 2018. And since then, we've organized all these community events, and we do it like an inshore tournament with prizes, power poles on it, Mercury Marines on it, and we've gotten 163,000 pounds of ghost traps and gear. And every time, as you're well aware, every time we pull a ghost trap, it's chock full of spinies or stone crabs or blue crabs, or we routinely find redfish, sheep's head, snapper, all kinds of stuff. So, yeah.
Someone said, Neill, you've been working out, bro?
Oh shit!
You're flexing on
them. my belly, maybe.
We have to wear these hoodie things to make your arms look good because Anderson's not here, right?
Yeah, right.
So we have to
exactly.
I was gonna wear a sleeveless shirt
just
this
sitting
morning.
over here, kind of compressing myself,
flexing hard.
Yeah,
oh my gosh,
that's funny. I was gonna wear a sleeveless shirt this morning just to be funny.
Right. He seems like he's been getting a lot of fishing in.
Yeah,
I'm happy for him. That's good. Yeah.
He's definitely grinding.
Yep.
He works really, really hard. Yep. And it's funny, people, not knowing Mike as well 2 or 3 years ago, I'm like, man, he's got a TV show, a radio show. It must be nice. But actually getting to know him, that dude works.
Yeah.
He works 23 hours a day. It's crazy.
Married to the game.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Nose to the grindstone, for sure. So, guys, a lot of people have mentioned the volume is too low on break. It's really hard to boost the break volume as much as I can. I'm trying to lower the volume of the main radio show so that way they're somewhat equal. But we are working on the volume issues, y'all. Appreciate you watching this morning. Keep trying. That's all we can do.
So we just stop talking. We just stop talking. There, we'll fix it.
Yeah. It's just the break mic is lower than the studio volume mic because the studio volume is just so powerful now. The old studio was perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once you figure out how you can stream that in there, that'll be.
Once we start streaming from their software, it'll be so much better.
Yeah, that'll be a game changer.
But I think once we stream from their software, they're probably not going to let us stream the breaks. That's the only problem.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
And a lot of people like the break conversation.
Break's the best part.
Yeah.
Yep.
But the radio station software, I guarantee, is not going to let us stream the break.
We'll want to stream the commercials.
Yeah. Because that's how they make their money.
Yeah. Man, for anybody listening out there, the redfish bite was insane this
Talk
week.
Into that.
Maybe that'll help.
Yeah, if you talk closer to that. That's our break mic.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was just going to say, yeah, that redfish bite really took off. We've been waiting for the larger fish to bunch up. But ahead of that, all the wind and, the kind of weather changing or whatever, man, it was good. Really, really good. I took a group out 4 or 5 days ago. We probably got 30 or 40 fish up to 38 inches, 37 inches. Yeah, it was awesome. Really, really good.
On bait?
Yeah.
Live bait?
Yeah. Corked baits up against the bushes and you know. Yeah. For the last 3 or 4 weeks, we'd been saying, where are those fish? They should be there by now, you know. We hadn't seen them, and then this weather kind of rolled through over the last week, and they all got together.
Are those reds massing up before they move off the spawn?
I think so.
I mean,
yeah,
we're seeing them. We're already seeing them near shore.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, we ran into a school a week ago of redfish offshore.
Interesting.
So I think they are starting to mass up. And you're seeing them more on the white bait bite?
Yeah, I mean, that's
They're
just what I'm
transitioned away
fishing.
from crustaceans already?
You know, yeah, I would say so. But I did have a couple of real large shrimp in the well with me during this particular trip I'm talking about. And I had a couple of good trips doing it. But I got them to eat shrimp, no problem. They were all over it. Anything we threw in the water, they were crushing it, dude.
They were eating.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's always good.
Yeah.
Dude, my buddy, I would call him my buddy. We've never met, but we talk every week on Salt Strong community.
Yep.
George Layton, he caught a 45-inch snook. 45-inch snook.
That's a monster.
Yeah, and his personal best was a 42 and change, which to me is a huge snook. I think my personal best is right about that size.
Yeah.
Maybe even a little under 42.
43 was mine.
Yeah.
And that's a beast.
And he was throwing a soft plastic, a pretty meaty soft plastic, but not one of those absurd ones.
Yeah.
And he was throwing it right around the mangroves and just got absolutely crushed at night.
That's cool, man.
A beast of a fish. When I saw it, I was like, "What did he go to Costa Rica?" Nope,
Wow.
Tampa Bay.
I've never caught one that big on artificial.
Yeah. On artificial in Tampa Bay
That's
at
incredible.
night.
Yep.
Yeah, what a crazy experience. I don't know many people that have caught a snook that big on artificial.
No.
I know
At
plenty of
night.
people that have claimed to.
Yeah.
We got on a pretty good run of 40-inch snook a few years ago on cut bait.
Okay, yeah.
But I feel like since the red tide years,
Yeah.
it's gotten worse.
Oh,
you don't
yeah.
catch them that way anymore.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
And Neill and Hubbard.
Good morning, Tampa Bay. We're back. Real Animals Radio, the Bartow Ford Real Animals Radio Show on News Radio 970 WFLA. Remember, if you have a fishing question, you got a report, question, anything at all, you just want to call and say hello, you can join the conversation. 1-800-969-9352. We want to give a quick shout out to our friends over at Affordable Roofing. If you need a shingle, metal, tile, or flat roof, check out our friends at Affordable Roofing Systems. They're your safest choice for repairs or replacements. With over 3 decades of roofing experience, let Affordable Roofing Systems guide you through this important process. They're defined by integrity, respect, honesty, and they have a personalized and professional approach to doing business. Call 888-397-ROOF for your free estimate or visit them online at affordableroofingflorida.com. With that, it is time to talk to our freshwater guru, Ron from Ron's Tackle Box. How are you doing this morning, Ron?
Doing great. Fishing's been great this week. We've had a wonderful time.
Awesome, man.
A lot of panfish, everything, shellcracker, bluegill, many different panfish, just thriving, catfish. It's
That's
just
awesome.
the time of the year. Everything's spawning, everything's chasing each other. Really good.
That's
Good way
great
to
to
put it.
hear.
Yeah.
How's the spec bite,
Yeah,
Ron?
we had spec bite has slowed down because it's getting too hot. They're still getting a few pretty nice sized ones mixed in with the shellcracker bite. Shellcrackers are turned on really good. Some pretty nice sized ones here in Lake Rochelle. Big bass this week, right under 11 pounds.
Wow.
I've seen right out of Lake Rochelle here, caught on the Booyah Royalty.
Oh, yeah. That's
I
awesome.
bought 2 of them and went out there. He comes back in about, it must have been 45 minutes if he had that nice fish.
Wow.
And I weighed it and he went and put it back.
Wow.
Nice.
Very cool. Very cool.
Pretty fish, pretty fish.
Can
And
you
a lot of other, a lot of 7-8 pound fish all around the area in Polk County, the South Winter Haven chain.
That's awesome.
Fish in the canals have been really producing because the fish are going in and out of there, and it's like they're waiting for them to come out of the mouth of the canal, and they just attack them.
Hey, Ron, can you smell
Really
the shellcrackers bedding yet?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Wait, did you say can you smell?
You can when they get to bedding. There's so many
yeah.
fish in an area you can smell them.
What?
Sure.
Fish farts. You haven't heard about that?
Then you know it's when you smell, you know it's on. Time to go.
This is the most ridiculous conversation
Oh, you
I've
got
ever
two
heard.
Polk County boys talking here. You got me and Ron. Like, exactly.
It's the true deal. It's exactly.
I have so many questions.
We set Dylan back a little bit there. Like we pressed reset on
I don't
his
know
brain.
what to say to that. All right. Well, so you're what are you sniffing for, Travis?
It smells like fish.
Explain this to me.
It smells like a fish house or
Yeah,
something.
look,
Like,
hey,
tell him,
Dylan,
Ron.
just go along with it. It's okay.
All right. Well, I believe you. All right. So you're walking
Our
through the
listeners-
woods and you smell fish
Hey,
and you know the shell crackers are bedding is what you're trying
Well, no,
to
on
tell
a
me.
lake, like you can
sure.
drive around the lake, and when you start to smell fish, you need to start fishing right there.
Absolutely.
This is so
All the listeners know what we're talking about.
okay.
They know what's
the
up.
host doesn't, but all right. I trust you.
The live feed's going to blow up with people saying, "Oh yeah, we know what you're talking
Yeah,
about."
Dylan, you're an idiot. Oh, well, I learn something new every day. That's what I love about this.
Absolutely.
All
But
right.
it is true. You'll smell the fish. You'll think, wow, they're on now. They're there. They congregate in one area.
I'm
They're
gonna start
spawning,
doing
breeding.
that on charters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
It's
really
okay.
for me. It's only with panfish, or and particularly shell cracker.
Huh.
You can smell
Okay.
shell
Yeah.
cracker when they get up in the lily pads. They'll get so thick in there. Like he said, they'll be spawning and
That's
everything.
right.
And if you have someone that I can't smell very well, but if you have someone who can smell, they'll say, "Man, it smells like a fish house out here, dude. You need to stop what you're
Yeah.
doing and fish right there."
So a shell cracker
right.
is, excuse my ignorance, because on this topic I'm extremely ignorant. Shell cracker is different from a speck or a crappie, because a speck and a crappie
Oh,
is
yeah.
the same
Oh,
fish.
very much so.
Shell cracker is different, but like where does that fall on the ladder? Because I know everybody says specks and crappies are the
Excellent
best.
eating.
Very
on the
good
food
eating.
chain, right up on the top.
So it's right there behind specks and crappie.
Yeah, Ron, I think
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think, and we have two non-scientists now doing this. I think a shell cracker is actually a red ear sunfish. I think that's the official
Yeah,
name for it.
there's let me see, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, there you go. He's counting the board in his.
There's a dozen different panfish out here that are native to Florida
Huh.
that
All
we
right.
know of, that I know of, because I have a chart in front of me here.
See,
That's why I had to count them.
I knew what was up. I've been in Ron's. I know
All
what's up.
Interesting. I was trying to get by your shop this week, actually, Ron. I was driving back from Orlando with the family. My son, unfortunately, was sick, and my wife
Oh,
was not going to be happy if I made a stop at a tackle shop on the way home with my son
You
trying
drove-
not to throw up in the
came
back
right
seat.
by here.
Yes.
Just a little jog off I-4, no problem.
Yeah, I'm going to make it over there on this next trip if my son's not
Sounds great.
getting sick in the back of the car. But it was definitely a letdown. I wanted to see the place, but we'll get over there soon for sure. Nice job this
Definitely.
morning. We appreciate our freshwater guru, man. How would someone visit you if they were driving back from Orlando?
Well, I'm at 380 South Lake Shore Way, which is 1792 in Lake Alfred. Phone number 863-956-4990. And I'm still here. I haven't sold out yet, so come
Good
on
for
by.
you, Ron.
We appreciate it, Ron, as always. Thanks for being our freshwater guru, buddy.
Thank you, fellas.
See you,
Take care,
man.
Ron.
Always a pleasure. Speaking of great callers and people, he's moving around on our board. We've got Donald from Lutz. How are you this morning, Donald?
Hey, good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Figuring out the new technology in here, buddy. How's the fishing? You just got back from Charleston, right?
I did. Yes. We launched at some areas that I had no idea where to find fish. I had one hit in about 12 hours of casting. Couldn't figure out the tide. The tides were 5.5 feet. It's like, do we fish the before the high tide? We fished after. We fished, the tide coming in, but it was very slow. I'll tell you, if you don't know an area and you want to catch fish, I highly recommend hiring a guide. I am doing that next time.
Yeah.
But saw some dolphins, saw some crazy boats that were stuck in the mud, and then hours later they're out in the water. because of the tides. It's just crazy up there in Charleston.
It's a different world, that's for sure. That's awesome, man. I'm glad you got up there.
Yeah, the one ramp that I do know that I have caught fish was closed. So up in Shem Creek, I have caught fish up there, but there's no other launches in Shem Creek. So when we got there on Sunday, we were going to fish to a couple areas, but the wind was just wicked. Whitecaps on a river.
Ooh.
We're going to go to a Waffle Creek, right? The tide was running at 12 knots through there.
Oh, wow.
We watched the boat. Yeah, we watched a boat with a 250. It was just like an 18-foot center console with a 250 on it. Had trouble coming in to the dock to load up. It's like, you know what? In a kayak, forget it. I'll be out in the ocean.
No, thank you.
I'll put a 9-horsepower motor on my kayak.
No, thank you.
For that kind of current.
Right.
That's ridiculous.
And a life jacket.
Yeah.
It was insane.
That's
we
nuts,
went
man.
to this one bait shop, and they said, no, you don't want to launch here right now. It's just wicked current. It's just wicked wind. It was not fun. But I mean, it was great to be out there. The areas, finally we found a boat ramp. I mean, it took us like 7 boat ramps to find one, and just don't know the area. So one guy, he said he caught some redfish by the oyster bars, but that was earlier in the morning. He had just came in, and he was using live baits. So I don't like using live bait. I like to trick the fish. Up here, I mean, I catch a lot. All my fish are artificials up here.
That's awesome.
So it's like, give it a shot. I tried gold spoon, paddle tails, miradines. I mean, every bait that I had, nothing. Just one.
Tough.
Had one really good hit. That was should have been a big red, right? Where I was fishing some docks, nothing.
Wow.
But it's a learning curve. It's just great to get out there. But like I said, I'm hiring a guide next time.
Smart man.
It's worth it.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head, because I was going to ask you, when you go to somewhere new like that, how do you learn the water? And you gave it away. You go to the local tackle shop and ask the local mom and pop tackle shop and the people working behind the counter, and they directed you to where not to launch and where to launch, and they got you pointed in the right direction.
Yeah, they got some great tackle shops. There was one lady who was a manager of Hadrills we went to, and she spent about 20 minutes with us, showing us different baits. It's like, I've got that bait, I've got that bait. I've got Procure. She sold some Procure to my friend who was with me. That didn't work.
But she provided value and pointed you in the right direction. That's
she
cool.
She tried.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, on day 2, we also decided to dead stick finger mullets. We caught crabs.
There you go.
And you know what? They've got medicine for that.
And on that note, Donald.
Get ready for that belly button.
I felt a joke coming.
And the joke popped into my head, but I wasn't going to say it, so I'm glad someone did.
It is live radio.
We appreciate it, Donald. Thanks for the call and the great report and the lively joke, buddy. We appreciate you, man.
Have a good day.
Absolutely. Hey, we've got the big fishing tournament coming up for Real Adventure Kayak Fishing on April 1st.
There it is.
Fishing for the Fallen, formerly the Michael Magley tournament. So April 1st.
Yes, sir.
It's a big tournament, $65. First place for its 2 biggest redfish, but they've got to be within slot. So
Nice.
2 in-slot redfish, right, is going to win $2,500.
Solid.
For $65. And yeah, so these redfish have to be in slot, which I love that.
Yeah.
So the 2 in slot redfish, $65. We also have a kayak we're giving away. Lots of raffle prizes.
And Hubbard's Marina
I know
fishing trips.
Yeah, I mean, you were incredible last year. How much stuff you gave away, and I'm sorry I didn't put money into those raffles, but
I'll forgive you.
I put $100 already in for the kayak.
Nice.
So I'm going to probably put another $200 into the raffles. I'm definitely going to throw some money into what you're doing.
Yeah.
Providing.
And anybody listening.
Awesome.
anybody listening can join us. That's Saturday, April 1st at I think it's Osprey Bay. That's it. At 3 p.m. the captain's tournament or the weigh-in's going to happen, and you'll be able to take part in those raffles. So it's going to be a great time. Fishing for the Fallen tournament by Rack Fishing.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you, man.
It's going to be awesome. I'm a board member. I'm a member at large. I mean, on the board.
Nice.
So I'm getting heavily involved in that because I it's awesome what they're doing. We combined our clubs together, my back club. So we're now the Backpack Rat Club, whatever I came up with.
Well, we appreciate you, Donald.
Rat.
We're up against the break, brother. I will see you Saturday, April 1st for Fishing for the Fallen.
Absolutely.
Thanks for calling, my man. See you,
You're
Donald.
welcome. You take care. Stay safe as always.
Bye, Donald.
All right, man. As always, a pleasure to hear from our good buddy Donald. If you want to join the conversation, you can give us a shout, 1-800-969-9352. We got our good buddy Mookie from the Lakeland Ledger on the other side. Stay tuned. Real Animals Radio will be right back.
St. Pete report for him since Larry Mastery.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Nice.
advocated. Yeah.
Larry Mastery straight up retired, man.
Yep, I know.
All right, so I turned up the volume for the radio feed. I think I figured that out. And Travis, you can't participate in the live stream conversation too, cheater.
Yeah, that's absolutely what I'm doing.
Now I see what's going on.
Yeah, so someone
I thought he
said
was booking trips. Over
I am.
someone said
one
offshore you can smell the tuna bite. Someone said you can smell tarpon when they're schooled up.
Yeah.
Like I've seen that on Deadliest Catch where the one captain was talking about, it was your buddy.
Sig Hansen.
Yeah, Sig Hansen was saying he smells crab farts.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is silly.
In what, 300 feet of water or something? I don't know about all that.
Yeah, I don't know about that either.
Yeah.
But you get
That's weird. You're saying that's unbelievable, but you can smell
shellcracker. If you put 500 shellcracker and they're all
underwater
slimy and they're breeding
underwater.
That's like asking, can you smell gulp? Right.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
that smelling gulp is
but
in
if
the
you
tackle
throw it in
shop.
the water. Yeah.
No, dude, I'm telling you, like, it doesn't just, like, some of that stuff floats, like oils and things, like they separate
Yes.
out.
All right.
And, like,
now I'm following you. Now it's seeming more
so
realistic.
they're all slimed up and doing, what comes natural on these beds, and if they get in there, you can smell them. I can't.
They're in there doing what comes natural.
I like it.
The irony of all of this is I can't smell anything. I'm smell blind.
Yeah.
I feel the same way.
People can smell.
Smell blind.
I could take my dad shellcracker fishing, and we could figure out where the shellcracker are. With no electronics or anything, you just drive around.
He's your shellcracker bloodhound.
You could drive around the lake slowly in the
what does he sit on the hood of your truck?
Am I in a Wendy's parking lot or on a shellcracker?
I've had my kids out there before, and they say, "Dad, it smells bad." I'm like, "What does it smell like?" They said, "It smells like the seafood market." I'm like,
everybody stop.
Right now.
Yeah. They're like, please, Dad, no.
And then you
I
load up
can't
on
take the
shellcracker.
smell anymore. That's hilarious.
That is funny.
All right. Well,
the other scary part is, like, in this room, I'm the resident expert on freshwater, and I don't really freshwater fish that much. It shows how far off we are on this. Thank God for Ron.
Yeah,
no kidding.
Thank God for Ron. And Mookie, he's got a freshwater report for us. He's on hold as well.
Nice.
So we're going to hear some more from him. Big O, good morning from your Miami vacation, my man. I was wondering why you weren't working out yesterday morning. Thought you were slacking. But turns out you're just on vacation. It's acceptable. And so Scott Cole said when the tuna are feeding on the surface, you can smell them. You can smell the bait that's being eaten.
Makes sense. Yep.
All right.
This guy's never heard of shellcracker.
No, I think he was talking about me.
Oh,
I've heard of shellcracker.
Okay.
I've heard of shellcracker. Yeah. I've just always wondered where they rank, and because everybody talks about specks, crappies, and to be honest, until like last year doing the show and talking to Ron, I thought specks and crappie were two different fish.
Gotcha.
Right.
Now I know they're the same fish.
Yeah.
But I didn't know shellcrackers, like where they ranked in relation to how good specks are.
So have you ever eaten a whole brim?
I have.
Like you cut the head off, you gut it, you scale it, and you fry it. And then you can
I
eat
would
the
love
fins.
that. Yeah. I love eating
like
whole
chips.
fish. Like
the fins are like chips.
Yeah, I love eating whole fish. We're back.
Okay.
Ooh, Metallica.
Nice.
Anderson and Dylan Hubbard.
I don't know. I was going to let that bed music play a little longer. Bringing the heat today. Yeah, right? Getting pumped up on this Saturday morning. Real Animals Radio, Bartow Ford, Real Animals Radio is back. News Radio 970 WFLA. Remember, if you want to join the conversation, give us a shout, 1-800-969-9352 for your fishing reports, fishing questions, or if you just want to say hi to Captain Travis Thompson, Captain Neill Holland, or myself, you can always just call us and say hello. Speaking of saying hello, we got our good buddy Mookie from the Lake and Ledger with a freshwater report and all things inshore, nearshore, and offshore fishing. Probably one of the most knowledgeable folks because he talks to everyone every week. Whether you are busy or not, he will make you talk to him. What's up, Mookie? How are you, buddy?
Hey, Mookie.
Hey, how you guys doing, man? You doing all right today?
Doing great.
Doing good, my man. Yep,
yeah,
we can hear you. Can you hear
Dylan,
us?
Yeah. Dylan, I can't believe you've never smelt bedding shellcracker or bluegill before, man.
I'm gonna ride you all day now.
It is what it is. I was reading a book recently that talked about how people are scared to admit what they don't know because they're worried people will make fun of them, and I've fully embraced that. So yes, I do not have a rain gauge. No, I have not smelled shell crackers. So yeah, we're getting in there.
Yeah.
I guess I need to come over your way.
Yeah, you do, definitely. And you need to visit Ron, too.
Yes. Yeah, I'm working on that for sure. So have you been smelling the shell crackers out there?
Yeah, shell cracker, bluegill, for sure, definitely. They're all over the place. There's bedding fish everywhere. And I don't know if you saw that picture yet I sent you, man. There was a 13.90-pound bass caught at Lake Kissimmee this week, man.
Holy smokes.
That's a monster.
Wow. Pulling up that
biggest
photo
bass
now.
I've seen in 25 years.
Mookie, would they catch
Yeah,
it on?
Wow.
A live shiner.
Okay.
Stud.
Yeah.
Gigantic.
Yeah.
Yep.
Stud bass.
Yeah,
was that-
biggest bass I've seen in
Big fish for a
25,
big
30
boy.
years for sure.
Was that in deep water or was that offshore?
No, it was a big bed.
It was.
No, it was a big bed and female that was on the beds in kind of shallow water.
Wow.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gosh, can you imagine that
Yeah.
rolling up and seeing
Hey,
that
that's
thing?
Dude, I can't imagine. That's like that 45-inch snook.
Yeah,
That's a fish of a
that's
lifetime.
A hog.
Yep.
On a
Yeah.
live shiner.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
That's a big girl, man, for sure. Yeah, and it's the fishing out here has been insane, and you know, it's fresh water. Everything's clean out here. None of that nonsense going out your way, thank God. And fishing's good, man. Come out Polk County way.
Everybody's calling in this morning to brag about not having water quality problems.
Yeah.
Thanks. We appreciate that, Mookie.
It's pretty good out here.
We're catching huge bass, no water quality problems. Come fish with us.
It's their time to shine, man.
Come smell them. Come smell them shell crackers. You've never smelled them before.
Come to Polk County. The whole place smells like a fish house. There's shell
see that
crackers
postcard.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, anything else going on freshwater besides you said bluegill and that big bass? That's kind of your highlights?
Yeah, the speck bite's kind of slowing down, as Ron said. The water's getting warm, and specks are around all year long, but during the winter it's just easier to get them. You just got to know where to go when it's hot. You have to go deep, and the bass bite and shellcracker bluegill, it's that time of year for sure, definitely.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Are the bass on the beds good, Mookie?
Yeah, they're on the beds. Most of them have left the beds, but in some of the lakes, they're just getting on the beds,
Yeah, it depends.
and then there's some residuals still getting on the beds and stuff too. You just got to find them, for sure. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I'm like hearing bass are already off the beds. I'm like, man, how's that possible? But it's mid-March already.
Right. Well,
Time
yeah,
flies.
they start bedding like late January,
Yeah.
February. Like
We're on the tail end of it already. Wow. Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, we appreciate it, Mookie. We are getting close to our break here, buddy. We always appreciate it. If someone was looking for your fishing reports, how'd they find it? What's the easiest way?
They're still running the ledger online, and then they're in the print section for sure. So just go to the Lakeland Ledger.
Lakeland
The ledger.com, my bad. Yeah, the ledger.com.
There you go.
And Dylan's writing one for you, right?
Oh, yeah.
Each week?
Yeah. I don't write it. He has to chase me down and get me in a headlock, and then I'll give it to him.
Mookie, I didn't know that was a deal I could get.
He has to work for it.
Dylan's one of my hardest contacts to get a hold of. Trust me.
Yeah.
Well, I love your persistence, man. I apologize, Mookie, but we'll talk to you this week, my man. Thank you very much. Have a good one, man.
All right, guys. Have a good weekend, guys. Thanks.
You too,
Bye, Mookie.
See you, buddy. Always a pleasure chatting freshwater fishing and that shell cracker smell. Bartow Ford Real Animals will be right back. So in Orlando, when I was at UCF, I got real homesick for fishing, and I got real into bass fishing, and it just so happened that it was like right around bed and bass time, and Senko worms, just dragging them across a bed and catching a nice little 4 or 5 pound bass on an ultralight spinning reel. I was like,
so much fun.
It was very quickly. I was like, I now understand why people are so obsessed with bass fishing.
Yeah,
Have you done it?
Yeah.
My whole life growing up, I was like, bass fishing is silly. Like, you cast out, you catch the same fish every time. I don't get it.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me. I like saltwater fishing. You never know what you're going to catch. But then getting there and trying it, I was like, this is so easy, driving around in a truck with my buddies, walking up to lakes, trying to dodge the security officers.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah. It's guerrilla. It's an urbanized guerrilla operation sometimes.
Jump the fence, hide behind a tree, cast until you get kicked out.
And the largemouth can be pretty vicious. You know, they got a real bite. They're gonna come up and just crush it.
Yeah.
When the spawn's really good, I haven't done this in a long time, but like if you have a bunch of bass bedding, there's usually a male.
Yeah.
And what we'll do is a lot of times catch him, hold him, or throw him in a live well or something, so we can catch the female.
Oh, okay.
Because if you put that male back, he'll beat your bait back to the.
Gotcha.
He'll go immediately back to that bed, and you can catch him over and over.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. My thing with it was, like just casting into a lake wasn't that much fun.
No,
so like when the beds weren't happening, just blind casting, because you don't know what structures in the lake, you don't know where those fish are as you get into new lakes. But when they were bedded up and you got your polarized sunglasses and you see the bed and you're presenting that bait to that fish, I think that's
sight
fun.
fishing, like it's like hunting or anything.
Yeah.
Else. It's just like.
It was a lot of fun.
The other thing I like about bass fishing is when you have a lot of vegetation, you can throw like a frog. Mm-hmm. You get that blow up.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what I've been watching now is like punching the lily pads and seeing that and like vertical jigging for them basically in the lily pads. That seems pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And there was a time in my life when I lived in New York and I would fish Central Park a decent amount and worked at the bait and tackle shop up there in the city. And the hot bait in Central Park in the lakes was a rubber mouse, soft plastic mouse.
Really?
Yeah. And
wait a minute.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Fishing Central Park in like Manhattan?
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's
for
actually really
smallmouth
good.
bass?
Largemouth. Yeah. There's largemouth. There's
just don't get as
catfish
big.
in there. Correct. Yeah.
Like,
But
you
up
still
to,
catch a
I'd
4 or
say
5
up to
pounder
4
probably.
pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4 pounds, something like that. Yep.
I thought largemouth bass didn't go that far north.
They do.
Huh.
Yeah. ESPN's done a couple of little shows and everything covering it, but yeah, they still have.
Dude,
I mean,
fishing
to this day, there's bite.
in
Central Park.
Central Park in Manhattan would be dope.
Yeah,
That would be dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Is that
a
fishing
little,
allowed?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
As of a handful of years ago, yeah. But there's a little white bridge. I think it's on 79th Street in Manhattan, across the lake in Central Park. It's a movie scene. Tons of movies are shot there with 2 people standing on this white little bridge. And we used to fish off of that bridge and crush bass all the time. Yeah.
That'd be a great photo of you standing on that bridge holding the bass.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
I've never heard of that before.
Yeah. Look it up.
When he
heard
said
it here
Central
first,
Park, I
folks.
was like, where is there a Central Park in Polk County?
Oh,
Like, I
Manhattan,
thought that-
man. Manhattan. Yep.
That's
It's a
crazy.
thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Learn something new every day.
Yeah.
So someone was asking in the stream, do we have a jack wagon of the week? We definitely do. Don't worry. We're getting there. Did they find any weights in that big bass? That's funny.
Oh my gosh.
Let's see. Big O is down in Miami. He said he's going fishing for peacock bass here in a few minutes.
Oh, that's cool.
You ever done that?
I have never caught a peacock bass.
That's pretty cool.
But I want to. I've always wanted to.
You can sight fish those too. Like,
Yeah.
they're aggressive.
My buddy goes down there all the time. He works for the Gulf Council, him and his family. His wife is a scientist, and he's a scientist too. They're both PhDs. And she's doing a project right now studying invasive species. So they go down like Fort Myers, Miami, like almost every weekend to go fishing as a family for invasives.
Yep.
And
That's cool.
Yeah, they've
Talk about
invited me
somebody who's figured
down.
out life.
Yeah. And then Justin Gwynn,
Yeah.
one of our Florida Guides Association members, he's invited me down. He does
I don't know him, but I follow him, and he
crushes the invasives. He does a great job on social media, and he does iguana hunting trips.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
he'll do iguana hunting trips.
Yep,
So you can book like 3 days with him, go iguana hunting one day,
Yep.
catching peacocks the next day, and then those like long, slender snakefish, I think they're called.
Oh yeah, sure.
Or
Snakeheads?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was gonna
snakeheads
do
or
that.
clown knifefish.
Clown
Yeah.
knifefish, that's
Yeah,
the one.
The silver ones, right?
Yeah. So like you can do 3 days of fishing and do something different at each day with him. It's pretty cool.
Man. Yeah,
I've
that
wanted
is.
to go experience that. And then Everglades. We've always wanted to like you guys were talking about the houseboat trips.
Yeah.
A houseboat trip in the Everglades
Yeah.
would be dope. No,
Yeah.
it's the news.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah.
That's
Disappearing.
actually, I mean, that's kind of what I put my houseboat together to do, is that, you know.
Really?
Yeah.
An Everglades trip?
Yeah.
That's the coolest part about Florida. Like
Yeah.
your project, all Florida, like you can go from Pensacola to Destin, totally different fishery, to Mexico Beach,
Yep.
Panama City, different fishery, Apalachicola, different
Yep.
fishery,
Yep.
All the way down the
Hernando,
coast.
different fishery,
Yep.
Tampa Bay, different fishery.
Go all the way around, come back up to Jacksonville, and you can fish tailing redfish on a flood tide. And like,
Yeah.
it's like South
In a river.
Carolina. Like,
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
you can go do just about
Everything.
anything.
Yeah, Miami, go out and
Yep.
catch a marlin. The
How about
Tortugas.
one of my favorite things to do is to throw my 23-foot Dorado type tower boat, charter boat, on the trailer and go to Palm Beach over there.
Yeah.
Go out of the inlet and go fish for sailfish,
Catch
and
sailfish.
dolphin
Yeah.
and stuff.
On a
I've done
23-foot
that.
boat.
It's just awesome, man.
That's cool.
It's such a great experience.
That's us.
Yep.
You can tell by the disclaimer.
Yeah. Whatever these hillbillies are about to say.
AM, its staff, management, or parent company, iHeartMedia Incorporated.
Welcome to the Bartow Ford Real Animals Radio Show, your weekly voyage into Florida fishing. Presented by Hubbard's Marina, hosted by Captain Mike Anderson and Captain Dylan Hubbard.
Good morning, Tampa Bay. Captain Dylan Hubbard here for the Bartow Ford Real Animals Radio Show on News Radio 970 WFLA. We got our buddy Captain Neill Holland from Oceanade 360 and GoFishTampaBay.com. We've got Captain Travis Thompson in studio from All Florida and Cast and Blast FL. Great outdoors podcast if you haven't checked it out yet. And myself, Captain Dylan Hubbard. No Captain Mike Anderson this morning. He's out doing a charitable event over there at mytbsc.com. Tampa Bay Sporting Clays. Great people, great location. If you haven't visited yet, you're missing out. And that's our setup this morning. So we got 2 great guests in studio this morning. We want to get a chance to talk about water quality. You have 2 of the most educated folks in Tampa Bay on that, in my opinion. And we're going to get there, hopefully. But we've had so many other great conversations going on this morning. It's been tough to get to it, but we'll get there for sure. And we'll start getting there now with Captain Jim, or with our Jack Wagon of the Week is the word I was looking for. Then we have our Milwaukee Tool Safe Boating Tip of the Week. And we got our good buddy, Captain Planet from the Eco Preservation Project on the line as well. So great callers lined up as well. But first, before we get there, Jack Wagon of the Week. As many have been looking forward to this morning, us talking about our Jack Wagon of the Week, which is our little segment we do every Saturday around 7 a.m., talk a little bit about what's got us worked up, what really grinds our gears, if you will. A little family guy shout out there. For me this week, I think the Jack Wagon of the Week is the charismatic megafauna lovers of the world.
You and that word.
I love that word. Thank you, Travis, for arming me with that. I'm going to throw you under the bus.
I regret that word now.
If you don't know what charismatic megafauna is, definitely Google it. It's hilarious, and you will adopt the word as much as I will, hopefully. But I'm addicted to it. But long story short, manatee is the pinnacle of charismatic megafauna, and this year, the state of Florida has spent close to $30 million buying lettuce and hiring people to feed our manatees, because manatees are in so much danger. And there's so many manatees, they don't have enough food because we're not paying attention to our water quality, folks. And Tampa Bay has lost incredible amounts of seagrass. I want to say more than 20% of our seagrass in Tampa Bay since like 2017, I think it is. An incredible amount of seagrass in Tampa Bay is gone. And seagrass filters water. It provides food to those charismatic megafauna, manatees. And it's an important part of our ecosystem. It's the base of our ecosystem. It's the estuary, right? And we're losing seagrass at an alarming rate. They're pouring money to feed manatees instead of addressing the root problem, the decline of our seagrass. And now just yesterday, three different dead manatees reported floating in Tampa Bay. So manatees are dying, and people are just so blind to the fact that instead of spending $30 million to feed these manatees, which is only putting a Band-Aid on the problem, let's look at the root cause. Let's take that $30 million away from feeding the manatees, and let's put that $30 million to fixing the root problem, which is seagrass decline, water quality issues. Just a little bit of logic. So
feed them in a more sustainable kind of way. We're still feeding them, just for the long term, not for the short term.
Think about tomorrow, not about today.
Yeah. If you love the manatees, we need you to love the seagrass just as much. Right?
Yeah. So Jackwagon of the week is the manatee people.
Yeah.
Or the lack of logic in that whole thing. I don't know. You can assign your own jackwagon, but
listen, not to get serious on a Saturday morning, but I'm just gonna say it like the idea of how fast our state's developing, and then you materially change like how quickly water gets to these systems with nutrients in it. Yeah. And then you start to see impacts. You start to see wastewater spills. You see piney points. You see we are just killing our systems, and it falls into manatees. And if you love manatees, I get it. You want to feed them. You don't want any manatees to die. I like manatees. I enjoy seeing them out there. They're neat. They're part of Florida. Yep. But at the end of the day, if we're not fixing the actual root cause, we're just putting Band-Aids on bullet wounds. Yeah, and that's what our state is really good at doing, is putting Band-Aids on bullet wounds. Yep. Sorry.
Amen. Couldn't have said it better myself. If you want to be really freaked out and really understand the breadth of the problem very quickly, go to tampabaywaterkeeper.org, click resources, and once you're on the resources page of tampabaywaterkeeper.org, there is one that is called, where is it? Water monitoring. And under the water monitoring tab, there's pollution notices, and that takes you to a Florida DEP page. And there's a link there that you can look at view submitted notices. And then one more click gives you a map of submitted notices. And it's literally unnerving, the amount of notices just in the last 30 days. So there's 8 pages here, and that only shows you back into late February. 8 pages of results of different spills across the state. And last week we found this on the Tampa Bay Waterkeeper site, and I signed up Mike's email and my email for notices, so they email you every time a notice is filed. Dude, on March 9th, I got 9 notices. Oh my God. 9 spills across the state of wastewater sewage.
That's for one estuarine system.
Yeah.
Now imagine how many of those exist around Florida. And how fast we're building out and not updating infrastructure in pace to keep up.
Insane.
Tampa's infrastructure was updated around 1980, and so we're starting to see the failure. And that's when we saw the seagrass recovery in the Bay was in the mid 80s. We started to see it coming back. Now we're seeing the failure of that system. We're seeing a decline. Like, this isn't rocket science. You can lay these 2 charts over each other, and the
This isn't rocket science, but people still don't get it.
But it has been politicized, and that's a big deal to me. Is like, stop politicizing conservation and environmentalism and in my state.
Yeah,
like I don't care what you got to do to win your election or whatever. but stop politicizing the resources I care about.
Stop putting Band-Aids on bullet wounds.
Yeah.
Amen.
I got a jack wagon. It's
All right.
whoever went down the shoreline over near Wheaton yesterday and cut 3 prop scars into a beautiful 35-inch redfish.
Wow.
Yeah, the thing's still feeding and caught on a charter yesterday afternoon, but with 3 or 4 fresh scars across its back. So
speeding across grass flats in shallow water.
Got to slow down.
Look what my boat can do. I've got a 6-inch tunnel.
You know, I saw somebody the other day talking about how prop scars shouldn't be an issue. Like water quality should be the issue, not prop scarring. And I know you're talking about on a fish specifically, but prop scarring has long-term effects on seagrass growth, and it can create erosion. It can create a lot of problems on a seagrass bed that expands and takes a decade to fix. Like, it's a long time. Like, we shouldn't be marginalizing any of those problems in that conversation.
It's just like your front yard, right? If a big truck goes into your front yard and backs across your front yard, it takes a year or more for your grass to fill in those holes.
Except that in your front yard, you don't have wave action and boats going by, and you start to, that prop scar will get wider, and you just don't get anything back in it. And I mean, it's a problem.
It's a huge problem.
Yep.
I would agree completely.
Respect the waters, man.
Respect.
And I'm not talking just a fisherman. I'm talking like Florida. Let's respect our waters.
Yeah.
Have some personal responsibility. Nothing makes me more angry than driving down the street and seeing someone throw trash out of their car.
Oh my gosh.
Like, I drive a wrap truck with my business all over it, but I will go next to you and scream at you and make a big scene if I see you throw trash out of your car. It's unacceptable. Unacceptable. But we do have to move on. We got our callers are backing up, and we got some really good callers on the line. First things first, we got to get our Milwaukee Tool safe boating tip of the week. We've got our good friend Captain Jim Fogel on the line. How you doing this morning, Jim?
Great. You guys got that show rocking this morning. All sounding real good. Real
nice.
Good.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. What do you got for us this morning?
I've got spring break coming up. That's what I got.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you know it's going to be crowded. It's going to be crowded like a holiday type weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got to do some extra precautions here. First of all, we really need to slow down during this time. We got to slow down, be extra alert, use all your crew for lookouts. Don't hesitate to give them some responsibility. In a crossing situation, just give way. Assume the other boat is the stand-on or doesn't have a clue who's give way and stand on. So just let them go. It's safer that way. Stay away from boats that are towing someone behind their boat. Remember to go down to idle speed if an emergency vessel is lit up and has their lights on and is working with something or another boat, or at least stay 300 feet away. If you are within 300 feet of the emergency vessel, you must go down to idle speed. Idle speed, not slow.
Mm-hmm.
If you see a vessel in distress, you see somebody waving at you, and it appears that they might be in distress, you are obligated to go over and check out. If it will not put your crew or your boat in danger, you must check with the captain of that boat to see if you can assist them. You don't need to loan them money. You don't need to do CPR, and you don't need to give them a crank if their battery's dead. But you do need to go check it out. Maybe they just need somebody to call for help for them. So give an extra 5 minutes or something. Gas up the day before you need it to prevent long waits at the dock. I know that's the most frustrating thing in the world to me.
Mm-hmm.
I hate doing that. And drink lots of water out there. It's getting hot. I mean, it's getting warm out there. So drink lots of water or other hydration drinks, and do not drink alcohol until you get home or back to the dock.
Yep. Good points. Good points. Great points with spring break on our doorstep. So appreciate the
we're
tips
happy to have them. We're happy to have them, but we got to watch out for them.
Jim.
Most of them are not.
Yeah, I identify with that. And I'm not sure if there's anything much more dangerous than a tourist on a jet ski, on a rental jet ski, So.
Oh, yeah. That's exactly right. Very good point. Very good point. All right, guys. You keep up the good work for the Coast Guard of Oregon St. Pete. It's Jim Fogel. Yes, sir. Be safe out there.
See you, Captain Jim. Always a pleasure chatting with our friend Captain Jim Fogel. Remember, that safe boating tip of the week was brought to you by our good friends at Milwaukee Tool. Go to milwaukeetool.com to see all the great products they have and find out why they're the easy choice for the Real Animals team. We got our good friend Captain Planet from the Eco Preservation Project on the line. We're going to get to him right after this break. Stay tuned.
I have this experience that plays out in my memory or in my, in my dreams,
Yeah.
or whatever. I was coming through Bunce's Pass one time at full blast, and this guy shot across from the sandbar.
Oh, man.
Had like a younger guy, mid-20s or whatever, on a rental ski, and went right underneath my bow like this. He kind of, the angle that he was approaching at, I didn't see him until I came into my line of sight, and he decided he was going to make the turn. And I swear, my boat is right down against the water anyway. Yeah. It's like a Dorado type boat. And he went right under my bow. I don't know how he emerged out of the other side. Just crazy.
So tried a 70-foot party boat with a 28-foot beam going through John's Pass with a 4-knot outbound, and a jet skier who panics and takes their hands off.
Oh no.
Dude, underneath the bow. We've sent one through the tunnel.
Really?
In Florida. Yeah,
what?
Right through the tunnel. It's crazy.
Yeah.
John's Pass is nuts. Just 2 months ago, we had a Coast Guard investigation because a boat, they were doing construction, and a boat came. They were on the south side of the bridge on the east side. So they were inside the bridge, kind of hiding behind the stanchions. You couldn't see them.
Okay.
And our boat was coming in with a strong inbound tide. So you have to go faster than the tide. So we were going at a pretty good clip. And this boat just darts around the corner and tries to cut and then pass on our left. And, dude, it missed the bow of the boat by inches, and then ended up, because of the wake, because we were having to go fast, he got pushed up against the fender system, and then he overcorrected. And there was a lot of conversation in the investigation surrounded whether or not the boat's hit.
Gotcha. Did they throw their guys out of the boat, or no?
No, the boat was luckily, our boat, no scratches, no damage whatsoever. Their boat was pretty severely messed up, and that boater ended up calling the cops on us. Cops showed up, Coast Guard showed up, and we explained what happened, and they ended up going to get him and wrote him a ticket.
Oh, no way!
And ended up he got in trouble over the incident after the investigation.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
Wow. Yep.
But I mean, that's in John's Pass. It seems to happen too often.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yep.
So after this break, we'll go right to Captain Planet, trying to get him as much time as possible. He's plugging an event he has coming up. Have you guys heard of him?
I'm not familiar.
Yeah.
We've never met, but we know each other.
Yeah, well, yeah, you're the one who connected us. He has Eco Preservation Project. He does artificial reef installations, like those plastic floating artificial reefs that build growth and basically help clean the waterway. It's some amazing
Freshwater
amount
or saltwater?
Just saltwater.
Oh, okay.
We have one under our dock.
Okay. So it's not like a offshore fad or something.
No,
it's like a
similar to an offshore fad. Looks like one.
Gotcha.
Looks like it'd be a good one.
His idea behind that is if you could put those under every dock.
Yeah.
Like, what would it do water quality wise?
Oh, that's
it would be significant.
I think it softens the shoreline, right? It's like we build a seawall, we build a dock.
Yep.
And then if this was mandatory, in my opinion, I think it should be mandatory to have a reef ball or maybe multiple reef balls and his thing. So that way you have top to bottom artificial reef structure underneath your dock.
Oh, that'd be cool.
He also does like a lot of work with kids. Like he'll take eco tours and stuff. He's this big teddy bear gregarious guy.
Yeah.
He lives on the Miccosukee Reservation right now.
Yep.
He lives on the reservation.
Pretty sure.
Yeah.
I'll ask him about it, but I'm pretty sure he's living down there right now.
Yeah, he's a really cool guy, but he has another project called Eco Homies, and that's what he's talking about with the kids.
Oh,
he's doing like a big event fundraiser. I don't know if it's a fundraiser, but it's a big event.
Fundraisers mostly.
Yeah. It's at the reservation.
Yeah.
Okay.
He says his aunt, who I don't know if it's his aunt or
she's not really, but it's Betty Osceola.
Yeah, Betty Osceola. That's it. And she's like the figurehead, right? The matriarch of that tribe.
Yeah, I mean, she's really, for most Native tribes in Florida, like Betty is
the go-to.
Yeah, if you've never met her, she's a rock star.
No.
Is she? Yeah.
The real deal.
Cool.
That's us.
This is not Metallica.
Yeah.
Anderson and Dylan Hubbard.
No, not Metallica, but hey, it's still good. I like some Leonard Skinner. Bartow Ford Real Animals Radio Show. Captain Dylan Hubbard here, and we've got our guests in studio this morning, Captain Neill Holland, Captain Travis Thompson, and we've got a killer guest on the line, Captain Planet from the Eco Preservation Project. How you doing this morning?
What's up, homie? In honesty, I'm surprised I'm a biologist and I've never heard of the words charismatic megafauna in regards of old manatee. I call all the manatees Gilbert. So I guess it's the same thing. The charismatic megafauna, Gilbert, same thing.
Oh, yeah. Very similar.
When you guys were talking about that, and how we've spent $30 million on food for the manatees, in my opinion, that's not just a Band-Aid. It's a bit foolish because we're forgetting about how many millions of dollars we also paid for chemicals to spray everything edible in the water. Where then we come back with the romaine lettuces and stuff that the manatees really don't like.
Low calorie too.
Going about our invasive weeds a little bit poorly, because we forget that these manatees can eat the hyacinth. They can eat some of these invasive weeds that we keep spraying. So maybe we ought to be leaning more towards mechanical harvest, and then we can feed them the leftover materials versus spending money on spray and spending money on food. But that's just my opinion.
Nice. That's ironic you bring that up because after the show today, Captain Travis Thompson, who's in studio with us this morning, who's actually the gentleman that connected us, is probably the most educated person on spraying and freshwater. What do you call it? What's the term that you use?
Aquatic plant management, invasive plant management, IPM,
APM, aquatic plant management. We're going to talk after this show. We're going to actually film a video on that specific thing. So ironic you brought that up, but I couldn't agree more.
Hey, really quick before
you guys should check out our aquaculture project on Lake Okeechobee. Where we're sitting there and we're mechanically harvesting invasive weeds. And then we mix them into a slurry right there on a mixer on a barge on the lake.
Wow.
And then we shoot that through a hose system. And then the hose on the other end is connected to a tractor. And they're spraying that slurry on agronomic rates on the hay fields. That way we're only spraying down what the grass can eat. And then we bale that hay up and get those nutrients out of the complete system. That way we're not sitting there replicating the same effects over and over again. It's been pretty cool.
Yeah.
Little pilot program that FWC helped fund for us.
Yeah, and it's moved to, I think it's moved up towards Istapoga or somewhere now. I think it's no longer on Okeechobee. I think it's moved up because it was at Brad Ferris's place down there.
Yep. That's a good buddy of mine, Brad.
Good buddy of mine, too. He's a good dude.
That's a really cool guy.
That's awesome.
He is a very good dude. Very good dude. I wanted to hop on and talk a little bit about an event that I'm having.
Yeah, man.
But when you guys were talking about water quality, too, and me being a scientist that's involved in water quality, I couldn't help but want to bring this up a little bit. Right now, Florida is in the talks of possibly adopting Chesapeake Bay's nutrient credit program. So have you guys ever heard of carbon credits?
Yes, sir.
It's kind of another Band-Aid kind of thing as far as it gives you permission to pollute because you're paying to clean it up.
Right.
Well, they took that same kind of mentality back in Chesapeake Bay where they had detrimental waters there that they've been healing through the last few years, and they've been doing a killer job. And one of the main reasons that enabled them to do that killer job was adopting this nutrient credit program to where they started charging the people polluting the place the money that it took to restore it. So, those artificial reefs, like Dylan's got a couple over at Hubbard's Marina.
Yep.
Why are we having to pay for all those instead of a company like Mosaic?
Right.
If we were to adopt that program, those artificial reefs would no longer cost money because the state would sit there and give us money for it, and Mosaic would have to tap the bill. Adopting something like that or even a nutrient cap for Florida is, I think, the direction that we need to start taking because our nutrients are getting out of control. And a lot of time, on the environmental side, we only want to talk about big sugar. And big sugar, according to science and data, is about 10% of the problem in Southwest Florida as far as water quality goes.
Spot on.
What about that other
Amen.
90% that we're kind of overlooking? And that has to do with septic, sewer, our lawn fertilizers, all that pretty green grass that I see, getting out of that comfort zone and starting to adopt the real Florida.
Amen.
I used to travel around as a marine biologist to fancy resorts, and they'd pay me $500 to come sit there and talk to their guests about the ocean, and I'd bring some ocean critters. Well, I always got a bonus if I got it on their little Google reviews, right? So I was always looking at the resort's Google reviews to see if I was on there years and years ago. Well, I noticed the same complaint, no matter where people went. Not enough tropical landscape.
That's awesome.
And what that told me is we've been selling a half-price trip to Fiji for so many decades that we're listening to the tourists as far as telling us what to grow,
Garrett,
instead of us showing our tourists the beauty of Florida.
Amen. Amen.
Show them our mangroves. Show them our cypresses.
Yeah, I hate to cut you off, man. I'm going to put you on hold for a minute, and I want to keep talking to you. So I'm going to put you on hold. We'll bring you back after the break. All right, man? Can you hold on for us? All right. I'm going to put you on hold. We'll get back to you very shortly. Real Animals Radio will be right back after these messages.
He's super knowledgeable.
Dude, and I forget, I totally forgot that he's a biologist as well.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, he's got
he's super intelligent.
Master's or PhD or something. Like he's a sharp dude.
Because you see him talking, like you said, he's just a nice guy, big burly guy like me,
right.
But he's got a big beard.
I don't know that he owns a shirt with sleeves.
He's a good dude. When I met him in person, I was like, holy moly, because you see like people, you see characters or you see personalities on social media, and you're always wondering, like, is that really who they are?
Is that an act?
Yeah.
Dude, when he showed up, I was like, oh my God.
You know what?
He is legit.
I have seen him before. I mean, his social media was really pinging around like a year ago.
He went viral.
When I saw
he's got a big TikTok account and everything.
TikTok account. Yeah. He's a good dude.
And he doesn't dance.
Yeah. The other guy that I'm trying to hook up with, his name is Trash Colin. He's got like 7 million followers on TikTok.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
And he's local?
He's local to Pinellas County.
That's what I mean.
And we're supposed to be linking up over the whole water quality issue that we're having right now.
Yep.
And doing some projects together. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to connect because he's like Garrett Stewart, Captain Planet. Just super, super intelligent, well-connected, and just hardworking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to talk to him about that. Yeah, I want to talk to him about his event, but also his little project, the eco-preservation project with the artificial reefs. Plus, it sounds like Travis and him know a lot of the same people.
Sorry.
That's not surprising.
So what did the wahoo eat?
The wahoo on the 10-hour trip was circling the boat in 80 foot of water.
Okay.
It was a weehoo. It was like a little 20-pounder.
You just pitched a bait to it?
We didn't actually get to pitch a bait to it. The customers were like, "Hey, there's a wahoo swimming around the boat," to one of the crew members, and they're like, "What?" And they quickly tied up a stinger rig, and by the time they were ready, the fish was gone.
Oh crap!
But we caught a nice wahoo on the 39-hour with a Yo-Zuri Bonita trawler and the Nomad DTX minnow shortly thereafter. And we've been seeing a lot of the blackfin tuna on the Nomad trawlers. The cobia ate a pitch bait.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How close are the blackfin at this point? Like, what's...
They've been pretty deep.
Have they?
Yeah. We've been mostly... And we're not on yet. I'm just putting this on so I can hear. They've been pretty deep, though. And we've the one trip we caught them pretty well. It was about 180.
Okay.
We're transversing across a gully and caught 8 of them in a short, 45-minute run.
I feel like naturally I would say like, oh, it must be a cooler water temperature thing, but I feel like I've caught blackfin and been aware of blackfin being caught at like fin barge in the middle of summer. And
Yeah.
stuff. Like when are they? I was just gonna say, what's the time to
Blackfin
go do that?
for me, it's cooler weather for sure. But those times a year, sometimes even in the summer, you'll have one of those really cold water rips that come in close.
Gotcha.
And that's when you'll see them. Like I remember, I was like maybe 12 or 13, maybe 14, and I was working full time pretty much in the summer on the charter boat, the Hub.
Yeah.
And we were at 9 miles and we had flying fish on the beach. Yeah.
Crazy.
And I had a sailfish come up, and I had never seen this before.
Yeah.
But Bill was batting the drone spoon behind the planer. We were trolling for kingfish.
Dude.
And I was like, "What in the world is that?" And the
Yeah.
captain's freaking out, screaming at me to free line it, and I was like, "I don't know what the heck you're talking about. I don't know what kind of fish that is.
Right.
I don't know what I'm doing."
Right.
But yeah. And then we went to Costa Rica and actually trolled the teasers and waited for their bills to come up and then drop the live bait back to them.
That's
So
awesome.
it was interesting to go full circle.
You just reminded me of another experience I had out there off of the beaches. I didn't grow up kingfishing too much or anything, but a couple of years ago, I was like, all right, I'm going to get into it. And I got my planer rods and everything, and I got my big king spoons or whatever, and I got out there off of, I don't know, Pinellas 1 or whatever it was, and I was watching, like, Jawbreaker and, another, Zaleski or whatever, another one of those boats. And they're out there figure eighting like this, and they're crushing them. They're catching fish every single pass. And I can see their rigs, and they're using exactly what I'm using, but I wasn't drawing a bite. And I got back to Masteries, and I was trying to match them, the whole thing. And I got back to Masteries in the evening and talked to Larry, or Rick Frazier, I think it was. And Rick called Zaleski on the telephone and said, here's the rig, here's what he's using, all of that stuff. And Zaleski said, no wire trace on your king spoons.
Yeah.
And I thought if I'm going to kingfish, I have to have some wire on here. I'd put 6 inches of wire, made all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
I had 20 feet of leader and the right planer and right spoon, everything.
That's
just
crazy.
delete the wire because they would eat the spoon or
I was
whatever.
just about to say, Dave is the type of guy you call him and ask him, and he'll tell you.
Yeah,
Straight up.
Straight up. No secrets. He's a good dude.
Well, I think he felt for me.
Yeah.
He'd watch me troll around in circles out right in the.
That dude's paying his dues.
I was
Let's
the
go ahead
third,
and help him out.
Yeah, I was
Throw
the
him a
third
bone.
boat. I must have burned 15 gallons back there on my single engine going behind him, not catching a fish.
He helps us all the time.
Does he?
Points
Yeah.
us out to where the
That's
kingfish
cool,
are.
man.
Yeah, he'll call us. Hey, the mackerel are here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
But yeah, that's the trick. You 40-pound test or 60-pound mono.
Yeah.
No wire.
Yeah.
Marina, now your captains, Mike Anderson and Dylan Hubbard.
Good morning, y'all. Captain Dylan Hubbard here for the Bartow Ford Real Animals Radio Show. We got our buddy Captain Planet on the line. Let's see if I can maybe have Derek's help here. I don't know how to get him back, Derek. I put him on hold, and I see he's still on my call screen, but I'm hitting the button, but it's not working. We're going to get him back one of these times, but there he is. What's going on?
Hey.
Appreciate it, Derek.
What's up, homie?
Nice.
What's up, man? Thanks for holding on through the break. Appreciate you, man. So
You bet.
You were
I
on a roll
appreciate
there.
You guys.
Yeah, you were on a roll there.
You know, the point I was getting at is the data shows us that it's not going to take just some of us making some changes. It's like what you guys are talking about. It's going to take all of us making some changes and adopting some different mentalities. You know, how the fishermen were starting to care about old Gilbert the manatee. And, you know, we don't like seeing our fish rolling up dead on red tide.
Nope.
You know, we know that a red tide's natural, but we know that Miracle Grow is not natural. And when you grow Miracle Grow on top of a natural plant, it starts growing unnaturally, doesn't it?
Yep.
You know, so it's one of those things where we're all going to need to start caring. And for anybody interested, you guys can come down here to the Miccosukee Indian Village on April 22nd for Eco Homies International Big Mama Festival. I've got 6 bands, Super Villains headlining, and I've got world-renowned speakers. People talking about how we're saving waters in St. Pete, to how we're saving tree islands in the Everglades, to how we're saving coral reefs in the Florida Keys. My person, Dr. Coral, Dr. David Vaughn, the world's leading scientist in coral restoration, is going to be there giving a talk.
That's awesome.
Those aquaculture guys are going to be there. Just about anybody in the environmental game is going to be making a presence, and we're going to have free camping the night before and the night of on site for those of you guys that want to travel down but don't want to haul ass 3 hours back there right afterwards.
Yeah.
Come down and enjoy the weekend down in the Everglades and have a little bit of fun and learn how we can start caring a bit more.
Very cool.
Where's it at, Garrett?
Yeah. Also, can you repeat the name?
Indian Village. It's Earth Day, only I'm a little crazy, so I'm calling it Eco Homies International Big Mama Day. I call Mother Earth Big Mama. Mother Earth's a little too hippie for me. And when I think of Earth, I think of Martin Lawrence dressed up like a woman, like, like it's Big Mama. So I call all the animals my homies. I've started a new nonprofit called the Eco Homies, where it's all about environmental restoration. Through the years of me running Eco Preservation Project, so many thousands and thousands of people keep saying the same thing. How can I help? And I got tired of not having an answer. So I started up a 501c3. That way, when people say, how can I help? I start putting them to work.
Nice.
And start actually getting things done. Anything from the artificial reefs to the real reefs, restoring the corals, to pond apple restorations in the Everglades, all kinds of cool stuff.
Very cool.
What's a pond apple?
A custard apple or pond apple.
Pond apple
goes south of the lake.
Yeah, it's like a custard.
Yeah,
it's a type of tree. That's what all the cool orchids like to grow on down here.
Oh, okay.
In the old days, if you read A Land Remembered, there were groves, just acres and acres and acres of them around Lake Okeechobee.
Absolutely.
Crazy.
Absolutely. And
I've never even heard of them. That's
those
sad.
Groves back up there and down here. A lot of people don't realize the Miccosukee people who I live with here, the land down here in the Everglades, guys, it's so poisonous that, we have a reverse osmosis machine so we can drink the water. The tribe actually grows their bowfin and gar and different fish that they traditionally ate in hatcheries because they can't catch them out of the canals. The amount of lead and mercury poisoning down here, their livers would shut down.
Wow.
So, it's kind of sad that the original peoples of Florida are having to grow their fish because they can't go out and catch fish anymore. And people forget that 1 out of every Floridians depends on the Everglades for drinking water.
Yep.
See, they call it the Biscayne Aquifer. But how it works is when the rain falls here in the Everglades, it trickles down that limestone rock, that Swiss cheese looking rocks, and it goes through all those little holes and it trickles down and replenishes that Biscayne Aquifer. So if my water's too poisonous to drink today, how are the grandchildren's water going to be going through those pipes in Miami and Fort Lauderdale and the Florida Keys and, to 1 out of every Floridian's mouths?
Yep.
1 out of every
we
Floridian?
Need to start thinking about this stuff
That's
now.
cool. 1 out of 10.
Yep, 1 out of every 4 Floridians depends on this place for drinking water.
Whoa.
You got to think, what is it, 9 million people live south of Lake Okeechobee? And the Florida Aquifer actually runs just basically into Lake Okeechobee, like the south end. So Lake Okeechobee becomes the freshwater head for South Florida. And the Biscayne Aquifer is a surficial aquifer. So it's a not as high quality, I'll say. That's not probably the right word, but and so you've put all these people down there where you don't have enough drinking water for them. And so you got to have the Everglades basically as a freshwater head. And when the Everglades run dry, you could have salt water coming out of your pipes before long. Like everyone says, water restrictions aren't a big deal. Go ahead, Garrett.
You just nailed it. That's what I was about to say is, people sitting there with their irrigation to keep their green grass in the winters and their fertilizers, that's just helping increase that saltwater infiltration. And that's our biggest worry down here. Is our fresh water is becoming contaminated with salt water.
Crazy.
That pressure gradient isn't there the way that it works. These aren't seawalls, it's sand. That fresh water has to have enough pressure to keep the salt water out.
Wow.
We're not having the pressure that we need. We're taking too much more than we're putting back into the system.
Wow. Well, awesome call this morning. Can you kind of recap for listeners and myself a little bit more about your event? Give us another plug for your event so everybody knows what day it is, what time it starts, where it's located, and then if someone was listening like, hey, this guy's really cool, how can I find him on social media? Can you recap that for our listeners, bud?
Absolutely. You guys can find me on Eco Preservation Project on Facebook, Captain Planet on TikTok. I do all the other social media apps as well, same names. For the event, it's going to be from noon to 9 p.m. At the Miccosukee Indian Village, which is mile marker 36 on 41. The actual address is 500 Tamiami Trail, and that's going to be at the Miccosukee Indian Village here on the reservation. You can register for your tickets. It's all free. The only reason I'm asking people to register on the Eventbrite is it gives us an idea how much food to bring. We're going to have a Louisiana crawfish boil. We're going to have awesome different Indian foods as far as the people of the Panther Clan coming to help cook for us and stuff. So
That's
it's
awesome.
going to be really, really fun. Kid friendly, of course. Anything to do with me is kid friendly.
Miss Betty will be there.
Oh, absolutely. You kidding me? She's one of the board members of the Eco Homies. She keeps me in line. My auntie Betty Osceola.
Well, we appreciate your phone call this morning. Thank you so much for spending some time with us and enlightening everybody.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Garrett. Take care, buddy.
Giving me a little bit of time, fellas.
You
too, guys. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, man. See you, bud. Awesome phone call. Definitely looking forward to that event. Earth Day.
Yeah, that sounds like one not to miss.
Yeah, and that's noon to 9. So if you're leaving from Tampa Bay area, that gives you time to hit some invasives on the way down.
Right.
I feel like two birds, one stone here.
And if you had to do a radio show or something in Tampa, you could do your radio show and then leave after. You don't have to you don't have to be there right at noon.
Yeah, exactly.
But that place is beautiful down there. It's special, and what they're trying to do is really cool. I mean, it's an awareness, right?
Yeah.
It's an awareness campaign because people don't understand what we're doing to our state.
Yeah. No, I'm kind of a little taken aback this morning between all the things we've talked about. My head's hurting a little bit. It's awesome. And I'm a little worried, a little concerned. But we got some other great callers on the line here. We got Captain Dave from Bradenton. How you doing this morning, Captain Dave?
Good morning. How are you gentlemen doing?
Good, Dave.
Good.
Oh, fishy business. What's going on?
Well, the mad snooker's more like the sad snooker with all his damn red tide.
The sad snooker.
Every time I pick up the phone, I go, "Oh, who's canceling now?"
Oh man,
sorry, buddy.
It's horrible, man. It's unbelievable.
Well, I'm glad
fish,
you were able to join us this morning. Were you up all night fishing for snook, or people canceling on you because of red tide?
They have been canceling on me left and right to the point where I'm a nervous wreck. I mean, I don't take Xanax, but I'm thinking about it.
Right.
I'm telling you. I'm afraid to pick up the phone. Every time I pick up the phone, it's somebody else canceling. And I'm like, that's 6 weeks away. We don't know what's going to be like,
Yeah.
And
same thing's happening.
Smart. The snook, they run. Yeah, they run. The snook run from red tide for the most part. Yeah. And, I got good ideas where they go. But the problem is when you're on a charter, you don't have time to go, I guess, how would you put it? Go hunting on their dime.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean.
I have to know where the fish are. I have to be on the pattern before I'll take somebody, So, yeah, I'm going out for fun, but I'm not taking charters right now because it's nonstop cancellation. But we got to do something about big Okeechobee dumping left, east, and west instead of going through the Everglades. And I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but I know we got to stop supercharging this red tide and stop dumping all this raw sewage everywhere.
Yeah, I think sewage is the deal. I think sewage is the thing we got to put our focus on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible how much, and it hardly ever gets reported, all these sewage spills. And we keep building and building and building, but we're not keeping up on the infrastructure.
Amen.
I mean, they're not keeping up on wastewater treatment plants. They're not keeping up on roads. It's crazy, But these politicians, go ahead and build, and you wonder how many handshakes in the back of the building are going on, But it's like I don't know. It's just something's got to be done because I remember red tide when I was a kid, but I don't remember red tide for 5 years straight.
Amen.
Dave, I want to.
Doesn't.
Yeah, I agree with you completely, and I want to mention that what you said about the snook pushing off when the red tide appears to be approaching. I witnessed the same when I was dipping the fish killed during the summer of 2021. We didn't find a lot of snook mixed in with the fish kill. A few, like you said, those that got trapped in the back of canals and such. But They do seem to be one of the species that has the intelligence or kind of the forewarning to move off and find cleaner waters. So I'm glad you're reporting the same and that you're not losing your giant fish down there.
Yeah. Well, he definitely knows where to find them.
Very few. I'm seeing very, very few dead snook. But what's scaring me is the amount of bait fish are dying. So I'm wondering, okay, all these snook have gone to hide, but they've probably eaten everything where they're at, and they got to be getting thin. And I don't want to see any fish die. And I feel I know a lot of charter captains that are getting hammered by this red tide. I got buddies of mine that are tarpon fishermen said we're going to fish Homosassa because nobody wants to go to Boca Grande.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. I got buddies of mine that are guides in Sarasota that are now guiding up in Tampa Bay, and they're struggling because they don't fish there much, and they don't really know the spots like they would in their backyard.
Wow.
And it's a quick learning curve, and I've got to make some adjustments. And just I'm good at finding snook anytime, anywhere, but I got to be on them. I can't experiment on my customer's dime.
Without a doubt.
And I gotta know where they're at and when they're feeding and their feeding stations and their times and their tides. And I'm real good at figuring that all out, but sometimes Mother Nature throws me a curve.
Well, if someone wanted to book a trip with you, the great, legendary Mad Snooker, how would they get a hold of you? What's your website? We're up against a break here.
Just madsnooker.com or 727-570-9711 or the Mad Snooker on Facebook. And you guys have got a great show going on this morning. I thought I'd just call in and say I really enjoyed it. And you guys have a great one. I appreciate it.
Hey, we appreciate you
Thanks,
calling.
Dave.
Keep calling in, brother. Always good to hear from you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. The Mad Snooker himself, legendary.
Legend.
Yeah.
Legend. If you haven't fished with him, it's nighttime only. He's the vampire of our charter fishery and catches huge snook. My dad, to this day, tells stories about fishing with him.
I fished with him when I was younger. We went on a charter with him and caught snook after snook after snook after, and it was like 38 degrees, blowing, rainy,
crazy.
and we just go out with this guy and just after snook,
kill him. Kill him. Well, we're up against the break. We're going to be right back. Bartow Ford, Real Animals Radio on the other side. Stay tuned.
We'll get to him fast and then give you guys a chance to plug your stuff.
Groovy.
Why? Was she going to call in still?
No, I can't get a hold of her. I've been texting. But she had okay.
Glad it kind of worked out, I guess.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
But I would like to plug it, whenever, just real quick.
Yeah. We'll get to Captain Gene and give him a minute, and then get into it. So we'll kind of end with giving you guys a chance to, a 2-minute plug.
Yeah.
You want to plug whatever you want.
Yeah, cool, man. Cool.
And then we'll do weather, and we'll end it up.
Sounds good.
I think we'll do that water spray and aquatic plant management video probably up here.
That's fine.
That'd be the best view.
Yeah, everybody's interested in that.
I am
sure.
too.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah. What is that? Do you feel like the whole thing's frustrating, or what?
It is because it's just like every other conversation. You latch onto a story.
Yeah.
And that's never the deal. Like it's always deeper than that.
Yeah.
But
of course,
Garrett was right on track. It seemed like with what he was talking about.
No, I mean, there's no way. There's an
you
economic,
can't mechanically
there's
harvest
an
all
economic
of it.
problem there.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't move manatees to Lake Okeechobee and let them eat hyacinth.
Yeah.
And there's no selectivity in it.
Yeah.
You also, to move hyacinth, they're 95% water. Like the weight to move that somewhere and then feed it to manatees, you're also moving an invasive plant. Like,
yeah, of course.
Now, are you like? It's a little bit dicier there, and herbicides. I don't want to put herbicides in the water.
Yeah.
But herbicides can get really complex and get really targeted. And they've done study after study. There's no legacy herbicides. Like they've taken soil out of dead lakes and grown tomatoes. They've grown hydrilla. Like they've grown all these plants in it, and then they've tested for all the markers of herbicides and not found them. Like so, it's
so
not
it doesn't
as,
persist.
Yeah, it's not as kind of cut and dry as some of the narratives that are out there. And
it's going to be a good video, folks.
Yeah.
I'm of the belief that if we could actually spend more money on some herbicide stuff and some more money on mechanical harvesting stuff, we could leave more vegetation. Because it costs more to cut like trails than it does to do like a systematic treatment. It's cheaper to like mow your whole yard than to have somebody come once a week and cut like a path.
Of course. Yeah.
So that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So the average person, that doesn't make sense.
Crazy.
But we got lakes too, like aquatic plant. We were on Lake George a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And that lake has no vegetation on it at all.
Yep.
100% due to the hurricane and then turtles.
Oh, no way.
They'll build these enclosures and grow eelgrass in it.
Yeah.
A turtle will break in. They'll clean that enclosure out.
No
a turtle
way,
can eat
man.
a square foot of vegetation in 12 minutes.
Whoa. All right, we're back.
Real Animals Radio Show, presented by Hubbard's Marina. Now your captains, Mike Anderson and Dylan Hubbard.
Good morning, Tampa Bay. Captain Dylan Hubbard here. We got our good friends, Captain Neill, Holland, Captain Travis Thompson in the studio this morning. And we got our last short segment of the morning. Going to try to rip through some callers. Captain Gene Hammond, what's going on? Reeling Freedom this morning. How are you doing?
Hey, what's going on, Captain Dylan? How are you guys doing this morning?
Doing good, man. We got a real short amount of time, but wanted to give you a short minute here to recap your event. I know it went well, huh?
Yeah, no worries. We're not fishing today. We're going to destroy some clay pigeons with Captain Mike up here in Tampa Bay Sporting Clays. But
very nice.
I wanted to just publicly shout out to everybody that supported us for the Warrior Shootout, especially you, Dylan. We raised a good amount of money, and we're going to get a lot of veterans on the water this year. And
awesome.
We appreciate all our charter captains and sponsors. Thank you so much for supporting this foundation. And watch us on social media, and you'll see all these veterans that we get on the water this year. It's going to be a good year.
You're the man.
We stay away from that red tide.
Amen. Thank you, Captain Gene. Reeling Freedom, a great event they had just recently. Check them out, reelingfreedom.org, right?
You got it. Thank you, Captain. I appreciate you guys.
I appreciate you, man. Buddy. Thanks for giving us a shout this morning. We also got Mayor John Hendricks, the mayor of Madeira Beach, on the line. How are you doing?
Good, Dylan. How are you doing this morning?
Another beautiful day in Tampa Bay, my man. How are you? What you got for us this morning?
Tell you. Good. Well, I just wanted to call, Dylan, and thank you, all of you guys, but you in particular, for all the work you've done towards conservation in this area and really all over Florida.
Yes.
And I see some of the things going on governmentally. As you know, that's kind of a quagmire to work through.
But that's why you're my favorite politician. He hates when I call him a politician.
I've never considered myself a politician. I know y'all were talking about conservation and the grass beds and all that, and I look at even something like building a new baseball stadium. I think maybe they should look at fixing their public works first and quit dumping sewer into the bay.
Amen.
Get those things fixed. I think our priorities are really messed up.
Yeah, preach.
But
preach.
Mainly my call was to thank you, Dylan, for all you've done. I know you've worked your heart out on things around here and John's Pass and whatnot, and it's really appreciated. You were really kind of the spearhead on getting that going, and you also, although you weren't voted into office, you're a public servant.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Mayor Hendricks, for the phone call this morning.
That's awesome.
From beautiful Madeira Beach.
All right.
Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, it is. Take care. Bye.
See you, man. Mayor Hendricks.
You've been deputized.
Yeah, no kidding.
Appreciate it. That was very humbling, very humbling. But we are up against the end of the radio show, and I want to give you a second, Travis. We got something really special we're working on through the Florida Guides Association, through All Florida, and through some really good people. Speaking of politicians, so
yeah, I'll go really fast so Neill can have a chance too. But we're doing a constitutional right to hunt and fish.
Amen.
And so some legislators have decided to sponsor this legislation. And if it passes the House and the Senate in Florida, it'll go to the ballot in 2024.
That'd be so cool.
Lauren Mello is awesome, and she has championed this. She's from Southwest Florida. So I got a real quick action for you guys. You can do one of two things. You can go to Howl for Wildlife, like a wolf howls, HOWL, howlforwildlife.org. And at the top of the page, there's a take action. You can scroll down to Florida Right to Hunt and Fish and take that action. It'll send an email to 20 legislators. Or you can text Hunt Florida to 52886, and they'll send you a link, and you can take action there. You just fill in your email address, and it'll send an action to your specific senator and representatives. Please support this. We're going really fast here, but trust Dylan, trust me, this is a big deal for our state, and this is a once in a generation opportunity to protect hunting and fishing, the stuff that we're here talking about.
And that was text the words Hunt Florida to 52882.
52886.
52886.
52886. If you'll just text Hunt Florida, that's Delta Waterfowls. It's a right to hunt and fish, so you can do both.
Awesome.
Neil, where can they find you?
Yeah, oceanaid360.org. We're going to be doing a giant ghost trap rodeo tournament event July 15th here in Tampa Bay, multi-locations, amazing prizes. You may win an outboard for picking up ghost traps and having a wonderful day on the water with us.
That's awesome. Bartow Ford Real Animals will be back next week.
The preceding program was paid for by Real Animals Fishing.
It worked. I wanted to give you guys more time. I
No,
apologize.
dude, good, bro.
Broadcasting live from the Farah and Farah Accident Attorney Studios. Tampa, WXTV HD2, Clearwater. Download the free iHeartRadio app for all your music, radio, and podcasts. This is News Radio WFLA.
Police are investigating and preparing to Friday morning. Officers responded to a home in Northwest 87th Avenue around 10 a.m. after receiving a call from a concerned relative. Officers found a total of 5 people, 2 men and 3 women, dead from apparent gunshot wounds. One appeared to have died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Miami-Dade police spokesman Alvaro Zabaleta spoke to reporters.
This is extremely tragic to be able to find 5 individuals that are in there lifeless because of the fact that perhaps this may be a murder-suicide.
Zabaleta said detectives are still working to identify the people and determine their relationship to each other. State Attorney Monique Morrell in Orlando is firing back against the governor, who has accused the state prosecutor of failing to keep Keith Moses, the young man accused of killing 3 people in Pine Hills last month, behind bars for minor offenses committed as a juvenile. She spoke at a press conference.
This is about the governor wanting to control the politics across this state. And quite frankly, it's dangerous because this is a democracy, not a dictatorship.
Keith Moses is accused.
My bad, y'all. Would have been helpful to turn off the volume so that way you could hear us. So oceanaid360.org is how you find that information. And how many pounds?
163,000 so far. And we've been working from Apalachicola. It started right here in Tampa Bay in 2018 with a year-long project. We got 30,000 pounds of traps and gear out of the water.
In 1 year?
Yep.
Holy cow.
And
that's
then
crazy.
We started making our way around the state. We've worked all the way from Apalachicola all the way down the West Coast and then to the Keys, multiple events in Key West, the Bahamas, and back up the East Coast all the way up to Jax.
Wow.
So, yeah, and blue crab traps that come in through our project are dipped in a concrete slurry and then posted out in areas to prevent shoreline erosion. So they
turn them into like a ball.
Oyster
like
reefs.
Yep.
So the
So
South Carolina
them.
Department of Natural Resources came and got 250 of them from us a couple of months ago. We've given them, there are a bunch of them up in the Amelia River up near Jacksonville. Cool. And then City of Fernandina Beach has traps that came in through our project.
Fernandina Beach.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So
It's been good.
furthest northeast city in Florida, I think.
Yeah.
It's Fernandina Beach.
That's right before the border, right?
Yeah, it's like right there at Georgia.
Yeah. Yep.
Crazy, man.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's been good. Well, I mean, the cool thing about it is that the concept when we started out was to try to find a way to move away from beachcombing in Tivas with black socks pulled to your knees and a big floppy hat, and to instead
beachcombing in Tivas.
Yeah,
I got
and
it.
instead,
I'll pick it up.
Yeah, you get it. If you grew up here,
pick it up when
whatever,
you put
get
it
it. You know? But no, to move away from that a little bit into mobilizing guys that had the sight fishing familiarity and knew the waters really well, and would come to our event day and say, I know where 8 of these things are right now, ghost traps.
Yeah, I threw my net on one.
Yeah,
right,
exactly.
yeah,
I've been waiting for an occasion to go get this damn thing. That's what we wanted to hear, and go find an extra 8 of them while you're out there just cruising.
Yeah.
And when they come back, they get a nice catered lunch, and they get fantastic prizes,
That's awesome.
And now that Mercury's on board, I'm hoping. I mean, we've done really beautiful fishing kayaks with the pedal bottoms and all that kind of stuff, but I'm hoping we're going to move into small outboards as like big prizes,
Cool.
That kind of thing. Yeah. We're not at Old Salt status yet, but we're working on it.
But still, I mean, even if you didn't need the outboard, you could sell it.
Totally.
You can,
yeah, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So,
well, I'm sure Old Salts, I could introduce you. I'm sure they'd be more than happy to promote
Tom
that.
over there or whatever.
Tom and Amy, they're good people. They I mean, anything to do like that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a nonprofit.
I really like that.
Yeah,
man.
they'd be more than happy to help
I think that I should at
amplify
least
your
help them
message.
be aware of what we're up to and see if there's some synergy there.
Their board is super open to it. They're really good people. So I would be very surprised if they wouldn't be right on board immediately to help you.
Yeah, cool. That's great.
All right, y'all. Appreciate you listening, tuning in, hanging out with us. Hopefully, we'll see you guys next week. We got to film a video now talking a little bit about aquatic plant management, APM. And I'm going to learn a lot. Hopefully, you're going to learn a lot. We're going to record it, and we're going to have it up on our social media probably later today. So stay tuned. Actually, I'll guarantee by Monday, but it'll probably be up faster than that. So stay tuned for that video. It'll be posted to the Captain Dylan Hubbard page and wherever else these guys want to share it as well. So hopefully you'll enjoy that. Hopefully you'll join us tomorrow, Real Animal Sunday on 620 WDAE. That's 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. for our live stream show on the Hubbard's Marina and Real Animals Facebook pages. And we got a lot of events coming up. Hopefully Mike wasn't listening this morning because I didn't remember to plug the events. Bartow Ford Real Animals Fishing Conversation, March 28th, 6 to 8 p.m. March 31st, 6 to 9 p.m. We got Final Friday. March 19th, 2 p.m. We got Bass Pro Shop. So lots of events coming up. Hopefully we'll see you soon. And don't forget, if you're too busy to go fishing, you're just too darn busy. Thanks for watching, y'all. And thank you, Captain Travis, Captain Neill Holland, for joining us. Appreciate you guys.
By the way, real quick, we're doing a St. Patrick's Day event in Williams Park in downtown St. Pete on St. Patty's Day.
Nice.
It's going to be awesome, and Ocean 8360 is the benefactor of
a St. Patty's Day party.
Yeah,
that sounds like
so
fun.
check it out.
Come have an adult beverage or two and benefit.
Jameson will be there.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right, guys.
Love